Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. The end may be near for Marsh Supermarkets. Late in the week, the once iconic Indiana brand filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, a move the company says will allow it to maintain normal business operations as it seeks a new owner. Now, earlier in the week, Marsh said without a buyer, it would close its remaining 44 stores in 60 days, a move that would impact some 2,800 employees. So what happened? And what is next for Marsh in the Indiana grocery market? For some answers, we turn to Purdue Consumer Sciences and Retailing Professor Richard Feinberg. Richard, as always, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
This is a story that has gained momentum very quickly. I mentioned the bankruptcy filing, the reorganization. Was this a surprise, or did you expect this as kind of the normal course for Marsh?
Well, the trend was pretty clear for a while now for Marsh, for H.H. Gregg, and for all the other chains that are struggling, and the struggle is real. So the trend is clear for many of these places.
How attractive, Marsh is going to look for a buyer or a partner. How attractive are the assets that Marsh has right now to a potential buyer?
Well, it's hard to tell from an outsider's point of view, but there are clearly, if you have 44 stores, generally I would expect that 50% of them would be very profitable. And if they can close the low profitable stores, keep the high profitable stores open, then maybe somebody might be interested in buying their locations and buying their assets.
Do they promote? I mean, for example, downtown Indianapolis is exploding with residents now, condos, apartments, single-family homes, very attractive. Marsh on right downtown. You know, properties like that, I assume, would be attractive to potential buyer.
Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes it's easier to open up your own place without carrying the problem with many of these chains is they have locations and they have assets that are old, and old assets take money to keep up. And sometimes it's easier and more profitable to build something new because it's cheaper to maintain. You mentioned keeping up, and there are critics who have said that Marsh just simply hasn't kept up with changes in the grocery marketplace, and this is something that hasn't happened overnight. Not overnight. So my favorite example of that is the slide rule. Okay. The slide rule is something that I'm sure you used and I used in high school.
I didn't use it very well, though.
Well, there were some people who were really proficient, but this was our calculator, and there were 3 slide rule companies, and it's unimaginable to me that an executive in an executive meeting didn't say, hey, there are calculators coming. Let's do something about it. But they all went out of business. They kept on making their product better, but they went out of business because they didn't see the changing trends. And that's happening with a lot of retailers, and in particular groceries.
And your position is that the grocery business is a very attractive business, but it's very much a changing business, a different kind of business.
It's very changing, but it's very attractive. We're talking almost a $1 trillion business. The problem with supermarkets is that their margin of error is really small because their profitability is really low. So a 1% mistake has a big impact. But there are so many examples of successful, exciting, interesting, innovative groceries, grocery restaurant concepts. If you ever have a chance to go down to Cincinnati and go into Jungle Gyms, I mean, you can spend all day there because it's so much fun, but there are a lot of examples.
We see Kroger investing $1 billion in Indiana and expanding their brand here. Perhaps others will be interested, but you mentioned change, and there's some really crazy, food delivery, online, all those types of things. Automated delivery maybe is out there.
Oh, it's absolutely out there. We're getting autonomous vehicles. It's coming faster than you can blink at. I see autonomous retail vehicles that just deliver stuff for customers, and it cuts out a big expense of the person in the car. Yeah, well, Richard Feinberg, Purdue University, as always, thanks for some great perspective. We'll have you back to talk more about Marsh going forward. Appreciate it. All right. Well, thanks for watching Inside Indiana Business on YouTube. For the latest statewide business news, be sure to visit InsideIndianaBusiness.com and subscribe to our free daily e-newsletters by clicking on the link.